Picture a hand gently resting on a Bible with a solemn, reflective background music playing. Back in the times of the Old Testament, people would swear by oaths to show just how serious they were. These oaths were not taken lightly. They were solemn promises made in the presence of witnesses and often recorded in sacred texts. Some would swear by heaven, believing that invoking the divine would lend weight to their words and ensure their commitment. Others by their own lives, staking their very existence on the truth of their statements and the fulfillment of their promises. And there were those who would even swear on God himself, calling upon the highest power to bear witness to their vows. But there was a problem with these oaths. They were often broken, leaving people condemned for failing to keep their word. The weight of a broken oath could lead to severe consequences, both socially and spiritually, causing rifts in relationships and communities. The burden of unmet promises weighed heavily on those who made them, leading to guilt, shame, and conflict. James, a leader in the early Christian community, sought to set people free from this bondage. He recognized that the practice of swearing oaths often led people into a trap of their own making, binding them to promises they might not be able to keep. This, he believed, was a form of spiritual and moral enslavement. He encouraged them not to swear by anything, no matter how strongly they felt about proving their seriousness. James understood that the weight of an oath could become a burden, causing unnecessary stress and conflict. He wanted to promote a culture of honesty and simplicity, where one's word was enough. Instead, he simply stated that it would be better for a person to answer with a yes or a no, nothing more, nothing less. This straightforward approach, he believed, would lead to clearer communication and greater trust within the community. By eliminating the need for elaborate promises, James aimed to foster an environment where truthfulness and integrity were the norm. It would be wise for us to follow this example today. In a world where words are often cheap and promises are frequently broken, the value of integrity cannot be overstated. We live in an age where trust is a rare commodity, and people are constantly seeking ways to prove their reliability. In our own time, people still try to prove their trustworthiness by swearing on all kinds of things, even on their mother's lives. This practice, though ancient, persists because of the deep human need to be believed and trusted. However, the true measure of a person's character is not in the oaths they take, but in the consistency of their actions. But there is no need to subject yourself to such bondage. The chains of constant swearing and making grand promises can be heavy and unnecessary. Instead, focus on living a life that naturally exudes trustworthiness. Free yourself from the need to constantly prove your worth through words alone. If you truly want to prove your trustworthiness, strive to be a person of integrity. Integrity is built through consistent, honest actions over time. It's about doing the right thing, even when no one is watching. It's about being reliable and dependable in all circumstances. Follow through on your word. When you make a commitment, see it through to the end. This builds a reputation that no amount of swearing or promises can match. People will come to know you as someone who can be counted on. Let your actions speak louder than any oath. Actions rooted in integrity and consistency will always resonate more deeply than words. In the end, it is through our actions that we truly prove our trustworthiness and build lasting relationships based on mutual respect and trust. Life happens. Circumstances change unexpectedly. And when you are unable to fulfill an oath, you risk appearing untrustworthy. Save yourself the trouble. Answer frankly and honestly. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Do not create a trap for yourself by making vows and oaths you're not certain about. You are not required to do so at all. James's advice is simple, yet profound. Stick to simplicity. It is far more effective than theatrics. If someone doesn't trust you after you've given them a frank answer, leave it at that. Do not wind yourself in trouble by rising to their bait. Let your actions speak louder than your words. Live with integrity, and let your yes and no be all that's needed.